family, and welcome to another episode of
Viral Hip Hop News. It is your boy Sam Anthony, and this brother right here needs no introduction. CEO of Hip Hop News Uncensored. It is your brother. Oh God, what it do, man? What's good?
Hey,
what's good?
What's going on, man?
See, man. Yeah, man. It's
Yes,
good to
sir.
be back, family. Let's get
sir.
into it, man. So yeah, we know Meek Mill just recently dropped an album. You know what I mean? Wins and losses. It's getting a lot of buzz out here. You know what I mean? We both have our views on it. We both listened to the album, skimmed through the album. It's a dope album. It's a solid piece of work, I must say. You know what I mean? We have a lot of comparisons to 444. I'll get into that a little later on because I definitely have my take on that.
Right.
But yeah, I want to get into a little bit of what you said on Hip Hop News Uncensored. Shout out to the channel. Dopest hip hop channel on YouTube right now. You said something that Meek Mill referred to, I think, when it was on his record 1942, when he called Drake a culture vulture. So I want you to dive into that a little bit. Oh God, your perspective, what you think about the comment, and then what you think about Drake being a culture vulture himself. What do you think?
Right. Yeah, I think you know, the subject of culture vulture has been brought up a lot. We've seen Dame Dash deal with it. You know what I mean? We have dealt with it. You know, numerous other people have came forward to deal with, you know, the culture vulture, and people pretty much, and even Meek Mill recently, you know, people outside of the culture, you know, dictating, you know, where the culture is moving forward, how it's moving forward, you know, and you see that when outsiders that are in our culture and they're dictating it, you know, i.e. these record execs, you see where they're leading the culture, leading it down the drain. They're promoting drug use, you know, the effeminization, you know, of the black man and all of that, you know what I mean? And over-sexualization, you know what I mean? Leading to all this, you see, you know, the herpes. So all this goes back to that number one, you know what I mean, that source, you know what I mean, at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So, you know, when you talk about, the whole thing, you know, the culture vulture, a lot of people have, you know, said that Vlad was a culture vulture. Another one would be Jordan Tower, you know, other people, you know what I mean? But Drake, you see the interesting dynamic with Drake, you know, is that he's what you call mixed. And you also have other mixed rappers like J. Cole, who promotes the culture heavy, you know, who's straight real hip hop, you know what I mean? Never heard about nobody ghostwriting for him, and just raw, straight up talent, but it's also mixed. So where Meek Mill, I think, is getting to is, you know, Meek Mill, I think he's speaking of that aspect, but he's also speaking of the aspect of where Drake is taking the culture. Like, he's not, I guess he's saying he's not keeping it authentic and real, you know, with this music. You know what I mean? That's why I'm thinking Meek, you know, was taking it. Then he must be, you know what I'm saying? But I can only speculate.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, how do you feel about it? Do you think Drake's a culture vulture? Because it is an interesting dynamic. I find myself being of mixed culture, being black and Puerto Rican. I'm definitely pro-black, and I'm pro both of my races. You know what I mean? I'm for the uplifting and the upbringing of both of my races and both of my cultures, both of them being from African descent, no doubt about it. So when I see a dynamic where I can see a Meek Mill calling Drake a culture vulture, but I look at the message between them two, and although I am not a Drake fan by any stretch of the imagination, I don't think I've heard a solid body of his work since Take Care, which was a good album. You know what I mean? But since then, I do believe his body of work has been watered down, but I don't think he's on the dancing and the coonery as I would throw a Future out there. I don't think he's promoting drug use or any more than I would say Meek would. Meek still pops perks and Phil does his thing, and he throws that in his storytelling. Although the wins and losses was definitely a little more upbringing into the culture and then talking to the young brothers. The message still lies underneath, still is the same as a Drake. You know what I mean? So, in perspective of that, in your personal perspective, would you call Drake a culture vulture?
Well, so in defense of Meek real quick, I know in his recent interview, I don't think you heard it yet, he did kind of speak out. He said he used to pop perks and drink lean. He kind of spoke out against it. He said they had him in a zone he really didn't want to be in.
Word.
I mean, recently, you know what I mean? So to his credit, I don't want to look, we're not attacking Meek.
No, not at all.
Being biased, you know what I mean? So I want to, you know, throw it out there. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, you know, I don't know if I could definitively call. I would have to ask Meek and see what Meek meant by that. I didn't really get what in what context he was saying that Drake, you know, is a culture vulture, you know. But if you ask me about, you know, somebody else, you know what I mean? Yeah, I could say that they're culture vultures.
Oh, no doubt.
You know what I mean? If you would have asked me about, but Drake, I don't really know. You know what I mean? Because I personally, you know, my personal belief that mixed people, you know, they are us at the end of the day. You know, they can't determine who their parents are. And like you said, you know, a lot of these rappers are guilty of, you know, promoting the buffoonery, the coonery, the drug use, and all of them pretty much equally, some heavier than others. So I couldn't come out right now. If you would have asked, I would say no. I know the people in the comments though who's gonna, if you give me a clarity on it, you know what I mean, then I might, you know, change my opinion. But right now I would say, and no, he's probably not a culture vulture right now. You know what I mean?
Word. And I think I would have to attest to that. I don't think that Drake's a culture vulture. I don't think that he's out here deliberately trying to dance and manipulate our culture. I don't see that at all. His father is black, you know what I mean, and he definitely promotes that. You know what I mean? He is a little bit of a clown, and we can dive into that a little deeper a little later on, but